Welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. We are back. I know it has been a minute. Jeez, I had to check. I apologize. We've been gone for like a month. I'm so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Jeez. Last time we were talking here, DJ Moore was getting traded to Buffalo. That's how long ago it's been. So I am so sorry about that. Blame our producer. He is, I don't know how to say this. He is on a tour right now for Dead Mouse. He is following the Dead Mouse bus. Zed is his true love. Like, I don't know what to say. This man is all about that. David Guetta is his god. Like, I don't know how many more DJs.
Martin Garrix can do no wrong.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, man. Hi everybody. My name is Ange Valentin. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, X-Bomb Sports. Yes, we're finally here a month later. Missed you all. I hope you're all having a fantastic Friday. Hope you guys have had a great Easter. Hope you've had a great month. Hope you all have enjoyed, hopefully, the nicer weather that we've been able to have here in the Midwest, at least to some degree. It's nice to finally get away from more of this cold and get to more of that kind of 40s, 50s. I know some of you are going, that's nice weather. It is for us here in the Midwest, okay? It's the only time we get to kind of enjoy this stuff, so bear with us if you may while we can. But ladies and gentlemen, we obviously have a lot to talk about. We only have so much time because, you know, we've got lives we got to get to. I hope you understand. I'd love to be able to sit here for 3 hours and kind of comb through everything we have missed over the month. Congratulations to Michigan on winning the national title. Experience pays for a lot when you don't have a bunch of freshmen kind of leading the way, I guess.
28 free throws to 10 helps.
That too. That definitely helps.
I'm kidding. They were good.
They were good. They played some bully ball. Helps when you're toughing your guy out. First minute and a half, Lendenberg's already throwing elbows and stuff. Like, helps to be the bigger bully on the block, I guess. But literally, when you're 7'3" and you're 255 pounds, helps. But yeah, look, a lot has been missed. We're going to get to some of the bigger news that you guys were asking about, some stuff that you guys were really kind of wondering about, kind of asking for. We're going to get to some other stuff here later in the week as well. Draft is coming up. We'll have our draft show. We're promising you that Thursday, the 24th, April, 7 p.m. Central Time.
23rd.
23rd
is the first day.
23rd. But it is a Thursday. The draft is happening Central, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, I believe is the time. Draft is happening. We will give you more updates on that when it happens. We're going to have a big event here for the show, so be sure to check that out. We'll let you know all that stuff, the link and everything down below. But first, guys, if you guys want to stay with us here on X-Bomb Sports, of course, Fridays, when we can go, every Friday, we are looking forward for it on YouTube and Twitch at 1 o'clock, 12:30, whatever it might be, p.m. Central Time. Be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys want to follow us anymore, too, at X-Bomb Sports on all the social media stuff that's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok as well. We're going to eventually get back on that stuff as well. And please keep asking us the questions. I do appreciate you guys when you do send the questions. It means a lot to us that you guys want to be so involved with us. The questions, comments, things like that. I love having the discussions, the debates. I don't particularly like the arguments where you guys start calling me names. You guys are mean. You guys are very mean. But I appreciate it all the same. Be it love us, hate us. We appreciate all the views, ladies and gentlemen. Follow us, of course. Hit us up at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. As always, we love that stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So, without further ado, gentlemen, no gimmicks, Nick Johnson in the back there with Adam Slim Snady Schneider. Are you guys ready to hit this?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. Kick it off, folks. Let's go. Because news hit Chicago. I know, we just talked about news in Chicago a month ago, but breaking news on this if you don't know. The Bulls have decided to completely tear it down-ish with the firing of Arturas Karnisovas and GM Mark Eversley. They are both gone as vice president and general manager. They have both been fired, with multiple incidents being noted, with the most recent one that kind of was considered the straw that broke the camel's back being the Jaden Ivey incident that took place, which we'll kind of touch on here in a later part of talking about this. But yes, those two are out. Billy Donovan has now been since retained as head coach for the rest of the season. As far as his future goes, that is kind of considered to be TBD at this point. Not really sure if there will be a continuation of his coaching or whether he will be fired. That is still something that is kind of being determined. Like I said, TBD. But yeah, obviously a lot has changed for Chicago in that time frame now. From the last time we were talking about Chicago, they were making trades, making moves, acquiring players, to releasing guys, cutting them, and now firing their vice president and general manager. So it was basically asked by a bunch of you guys, what do you make of all of this Bulls news? Well, right off the cuff, with just the general manager, vice president firing, many of you guys were wondering, what do we think of it? Do we think it's the right move? Do we think that these guys should have been let go sooner? A lot of you guys certainly did. A lot of guys said this was something that should have happened way sooner. Personally, myself, I understand that they were the kind of the quote-unquote scapegoats, if you will. Like, I say that knowing full well that they obviously share a good portion of the blame as to why this has not worked in Chicago. Let's get that out of the way. They will have their piece of the pie to eat, as far as their crow pie, if you will. They have to eat in terms of why this didn't work in Chicago. Should be noted, though, because I said this on Blow the Whistle, I want to make sure that those that didn't hear it here. Had Lonzo Ball not gotten hurt, we may be talking about Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley in a completely different way. We could be talking about them potentially with a playoff team in place, maybe a team that possibly went to the conference finals, maybe they even went to the finals. Maybe by some stroke of luck, by the sheer lightning of Zeus himself and the blessing of the Greek gods and Buddha or whoever else there is out there, they did have a championship. I'm just saying by that stroke of luck. But it would have been very win now. The dynasty ideology would not have probably happened with this team. Everybody was in their prime and also getting older. That should be noted. But we won't know. That's ifs and buts. Lonzo got hurt. He never got back to the court. They never found his successor. And once they finally did in Josh Giddey, by that point, everybody else had already dissipated and was gone. And he's now playing with, as Nick had said on Blow the Whistle, average to G League level players. Like, quite honestly, outside of Buzelis, who looks like he's going to be a part of the future of the franchise, and Giddey himself being a part of that, I think, as well, to some degree right now. But I think this was a move that just, it had to happen, right? It's also been reported that there was rifts between him, Karnisovas and Billy Donovan. Donovan was basically saying, hey, either he goes or I go. There's also been reports, not reports, but rumors have been spoken about by Zach Lowe, I've seen, where he is saying that he thinks that Karnisovas and Eversley potentially were the lackeys for the ownership of the Bulls. Basically, hey, can you just be good enough to make sure and do enough to make sure that we make the play-in tournament so that we can make just enough money to make sure that we clear a profit? Like, that is entirely possible as well. And I can totally see where that's a conspiracy theory where it's like, that might actually be true. I don't usually buy into that kind of stuff. I hate conspiracy theories for the most part. But I'm more than willing to kind of say, like, there might be some fact in that one, honestly. It's all hearsay rumor, but there might be fact in there where you go, maybe they were just the puppets being pulled by the strings. It's very tough to just say that it's all of them, because I do think in some degree Donovan holds some blame for maybe questionable calls and moves he made as a coach. The players also, I think, too, deserve a little bit of blame for lethargicness and lack of ability, but, that's what they bring to the table. At the end of the day, though, who gets the biggest brunt of it? I think the front office does. They will certainly hold a lot of it to themselves because, Nick, you alluded to this. Billy Donovan, with what he was given to take this team to the play-in tournament as much as as many times as they have gone, is no stretch but of a miracle.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I said that on Blow the Whistle as well. It's just the teams that he was given. I don't believe that another coach that of his level or below it or currently not employed would have been able to do so. Even getting them to the play in is probably hard, considering exactly that. Like, you see where Sacramento is now with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Like, that's what we just had.
Right.
Like, that's basically what it was. And Billy Donovan was able to somewhat be able to scrape that all together and make that into something. It ended up being nothing, but it was something at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it does speak to Billy Donovan's level of coaching. It does certainly speak to, well, maybe you should keep him then. I do say this. I don't know. I'm very wishy-washy on this idea that's being presented on them keeping Billy Donovan and making him a part of the say-so on who the next general manager is. I am very kind of iffy on that stuff when it comes to coaches being involved in them picking the general manager, because I believe Mike Vrabel for the NFL, for the Patriots, did this. I think John Harbaugh has been a part of this for the Giants, if I'm not mistaken.
Vrabel also in the news lately. I don't know if you saw that one.
Well, yeah, that we could be here for an hour to talk about that, because not to divulge of a topic, but I think it's a lot of nothing burger, but I think it's a nothing burger that people want to turn into something, because that's the culture we live in now, where you see a photo and you just say, that's what it is, and you just don't want to review the other side of the argument.
Dude, they were like holding hands.
Oh, no, listen, the view of what it is.
they were just short of like kissing and making out right in front of us.
Yeah, oh, no, trust me. Certainly when you look at it, you go, yeah, it is what it is. Like a photo says, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? And it's like, yeah, certainly. I don't want to jump to conclusions until there's actual information. But unfortunately, it's going to be they said, we see, right?
Well, I mean, all of our business partners, we all sit poolside in our bikinis with those, right? Is that right?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
I'll make a note. Just like I said, don't want to divulge too much.
Right, of course. I do feel bad because Diana Rossini is a very good reporter, and I do feel like she will get she's going to get destroyed for this, unfortunately. That credibility is going to be destroyed for some people. I still think she's a great reporter. I wish them all the best in this. I think it's a nothing burger, but I can see where people are going to just jump off a cliff for it. But either way, for the Bulls, I just don't know if Billy Donovan being in the room when they're picking the general manager and saying, well, Billy, what do you think about him? It just feels like it's being done all wrong. But hey, maybe this is the road that the Bulls need to take in order to try and get to that level of being a playoff team again and maybe getting back into that conference finals championship talk. I mean, it's going to take a while to get there. Do they have the legs to be able to do it? I think through guys like Giddey, who's a solid veteran at the point guard's position, and then having a guy like Buzelis, who is a forward that presents himself as a solid two-way player on offense and defense, you do have two pillars that you can start to say, okay, let's find the other pillars and start filling in the foundation and build the house that will be the Bulls of the future to try and go win a championship. It's just, again, for fans, it's going to be hard to sell on because we've seen this with Chicago before, where you start putting together the points of a team that looks like it's going to – we saw it with the core four, right? DeRozan, LaVine, Ball, Vucevic. Whoa, they're number one in the East. They're beating all the top teams. They're having a lot of success, right? We bring the chocolates. We bring the flowers. We say, hey, you are the love of our lives. We love you as fans. And those Chicago teams come and they slap you in the face, they kick you in the nuts, they punch you in the gut, and then they step all over you and stomp on you when you're on the ground. It's such a toxic relationship sometimes with Chicago. And at least, if anything, for the Bears, it feels like, hey, we might be in a good place finally if you're a Bears fan. If you're a Bulls fan, a White Sox fan, a Blackhawks fan, you kind of get those moments where you go, okay, we had a good date tonight, right? And then immediately you start arguing in the car on the way home. That's what it feels like. And then eventually they will punch you in the face. I mean, if you're a Cubs fan, it certainly feels like that, I think, right now too. So as far as the future for the Bulls and where they go for a general manager, there's been a lot of names listed out there. Kyle Korver is one of them, which I like. Bob Myers is probably the most attractive name that would be great to get, but that kind of feels like maybe more of a pipe dream right now because does he want to go back to being a GM? Does he not? Yasai Ujiri, former Raptors exec, I think that would be a great hire for them as well. You could bring him in, and I think here's the thing. You could bring him in as the GM, and this is where saying Luol Deng should be the general manager, I don't agree with that. I don't like that, but as Luol Deng being the assistant GM to Yasai Ujiri, I like that pairing of GM, assistant GM, because that gives you a pipeline and avenue to the African League that they've built in there, because Ujiri does work side by side, well, not side by side, but works with Luol Deng to help work that whole system they have in Africa to work through Sudan and Malai and all those countries in Africa to get basketball players to come to the United States to play in college and then come to the NBA, because now the NBA is filled with guys from Africa. Like that continent is now NBA ready. So I wouldn't mind that. But there's a litany of other names that I don't know are prepared for that. Adam. Mike Dunleavy Jr. would be fantastic, but can you pull him away from the Golden State Warriors, knowing that, yes, they're in the status they're in right now, but he has done a reputable job in being able to put together the team that is at hand? Like, that's the one thing I wonder about.
That's true, but also I don't think the Bulls are the most attractive place for a GM to go at this moment.
Correct.
So I think Dunleavy Jr. at this moment has just a good job where he is right now. I think he's just looking at it and is like, man, you guys are a train wreck.
And that's the thing, is that the Bulls, which once were a destination place because of the 90s and because of Derrick Rose and that and all of that, right? And then what they had recently looked like, hey, free agents will look at that team and say, number one in the East. Okay, maybe they'll fall off a little bit, but they'll be there. We can join that team. We can get in the hunt. They'll bring in some young talent through the draft. Everything was looking up for the Bulls in that moment. But the issue that falls down on is now all you have is the nostalgia of the 90s and the 2010s with Rose and all of that. Now you have to sell nothing but that, and the hopes that the city itself can say, hey, Chicago's a pretty cool town. And it is. It's a great city. I love this place. It's awesome. But as much as you can sell that, you have to sell on the idea of the Bulls having a possible future to rebuild and be back in the hunt in the East, mind you, not even just in the East, in the Central Division in and of itself. Can you compete with the Pistons? Can you even compete with the Pacers and what potentially they might become when Halliburton's healthy, and then maybe having a top 3 pick and getting one of these guys that could be a world-class game changer for them? I love game. For the NBA. I love me some games. Okay, so I will start off with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Really? Okay. Okay. Well, they're small market team. I just assumed record, top team champion. That's a little surprising that they're not in there, but okay. Okay, I'll say the New York Knicks. Wow. Okay. So we are. I am going to be shocked by this one. Then okay. All right. I don't just want to jump to the hometown team, but let's go with the Bulls. Understand. I don't understand because it took the fans to not go to the stadium to then get Foreman and Paxton fired. That's when they got fired, was when it dipped under 80% at the. Okay, I'm gonna say the Celtics. Okay. I am so ass backwards with this whole thing. I don't get this at all. This doesn't make any sense. All right, let's go with like the 76ers. Okay, all right, feeling a little bit better. Pistons? Okay, all right. Absolutely, that I totally, okay. Yeah. Yes, the Mavericks I can understand. Sure. Absolutely. I, yeah. Yep. Sure, of course. Right, of course. Right. Yeah. And they may actually make the playoffs.
You really need or want.
I can't believe Uzelis
Again, the
selling
Hornets.
point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's really, really tough.
That's amazing to me that we had to watch the attendance dip again. It dipped below 80%, and that's what got Foreman and Paxton fired. That's what we were told, that the attendance dropped, therefore they were fired. So once that happened, you hurt the wallet. You've got the team to change. They bring these guys in. This team's number one in the NBA in attendance, and they get fired. This says everything ass backwards about this franchise, and where the problem lies is at the tippy top with Reinsdorf. This has to be all on Jerry's shoulders. I know he's not the only owner, but he is the majority owner. He is the guy at the helm. You can put your son out there as much as you want to talk for you, but we know who controls the money. We know who is the owner. He's the CEO. You gave him a title. Great. He sits in the chair. Because this way you can say, hey, I'm not the one in there. We get it. You don't want to take blame. You're taking the blame. I don't know what else. That made me mad. That made me so. I have my guts bubbling right now from how angry. That
again,
just
like
made
you
me.
just mentioned, that is legitimately the thing. This will not be solved until they finally see a downtrend in their pocket. And it's I don't really know the breakdown truthfully of what it is, but it has to be a factor of, like, a guy in his 30s to early 40s maybe, bringing his kid around, being like, hey, man, when I came here, this was actually really cool. Derrick Rose was popping off and we had a chance. And they're not even selling him on that nostalgia. They're not even selling him on the 90s nostalgia. They're still getting him on the Derrick Rose stuff now.
Yeah,
so it's
Derrick
never
Rose
going to end.
was full.
It's never going to end.
It's so sad and upsetting, and this is why. And then you all sit there and you yell at me and you wonder, why do you keep changing teams? Why do you keep ditching Chicago teams? Because of stuff like this. Because I hate to say this, you as the Bulls fans, you as Chicago fans, you buy the tickets, you buy the merchandise, you give them money, and they continue to say, well, hey, why do we got to change what we're doing when we keep making profit? You hurt the wallet, you watch what changes. I'm telling you, it will happen. You did it before, you do it again, and you'll be amazed at what potential progress could be made, I think. I don't know if they'll make the right move, the smart move, the good move. But there's a chance, at least, that if you show them, we're not going to buy your product because your product sucks.
And this happened the same day as the Dream and Sky trade for Angel Reese.
Yeah.
Just kind of showing you on both the men's and women's side that, just basketball in Chicago is just being very unserious right now.
Seriously. Like, she's the face of the franchise. She's, as much as we say, well, Caitlin Clark's been a part of the change, she's one of those names that, love her or hate her, she's getting the name out there for the Sky. Promoting her has been huge. People go to the games because of her.
Meme or not, people want to spend money on her. Like,
yeah.
It's as simple as that.
You better hope these 2 first-round picks are like Azzy Fudd or somebody who's a star. That better be like Juju Watkins. That better be one of the top talents in college basketball this year for the women's side. Because otherwise, what was it all worth? What was it all for? I don't understand it. But look, on the other Bulls side of this, just to say real quickly for those, we did already talk about Jaden Ivey. A lot of you guys were asking about that stuff. I don't want to go into that. I highly recommend you guys go check that out on the stuff we talked about Jaden Ivey. I will say the most recent stuff is very concerning. The freedom of speech fight about what he was saying on Instagram Live about religion and all of that. I understand that battle. I do think the Bulls are at fault here for not talking to Jaden Ivey. Somebody in the front office, somebody in the coaching staff, somebody on the training staff should have approached Jaden Ivey and said, hey, man, can we talk? What's going on? Are you okay? Somebody should have said something. Clearly, even Billy Donovan did not want any part of him because, from what's been said, guys were getting annoyed by him. And I'm not saying that's his fault, but somebody should have been a professional and approached him and said, what's going on? Because these latest IG Live videos he's putting out there are now becoming more and more closer to and we may have to find him on a Netflix documentary as to him and his wife got in an argument one night and something bad happened. I don't want to go that route. I don't want to think that route. But unfortunately, the last one we saw was him saying she loves God, she obeys God, she doesn't even look at him and slips right by him, and he gives the look in a camera like, so that just happened, and that now becomes a concerning moment that people are being like, ha ha, wasn't that something? And I'm going, ha ha, this feels disturbing.
So when do we get the Netflix Untold Jaden Ivey? So I don't think this is not 30 for 30 worthy. This is Netflix Untold worthy.
100%. And I hope it's the Untold where it's like, oh, he just gives his side of the story on this battleground of free speech, not, oh, we have to hear about the tragedy of the downfall of Jaden Ivey where he's now doing life in prison. I don't want it to go that route, but it feels like we could trend that way. Like March became mental health awareness for athletes, unfortunately, with Puka Nacua going to rehab. Jaden Ivey, I think, giving these speeches, unfortunately, now is trending towards that direction with these latest IGs. And then you've got Tiger Woods, who's not only maybe mental health, but also maybe substance awareness. Sorry to say, but athletes right now are trending in a very bad direction for the month of March. We're now in April, and who knows what this may bring. I hate to say it, but we need to start checking. If you're not checking in with the people that you know around you that you love, please do. Ask them how they're doing. See how they're doing. Ask how they've been. Ask them what's going on. Please, I'm begging you. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the questions. Means a lot. We'll see what happens with the Bulls. They got a long way to go. Let's move into the next stuff, okay, folks? Major League Baseball. This came from one of our guys, Dave. Dave asked the question. He said, Connor Griffin just got paid $190 million for doing absolutely F all. Okay. He said, but I want to know, what do you make of guys getting paid so early on here in Major League Baseball for not really doing anything, for being these major prospects in baseball? And look, this is a valid question that I think has started to become a conversation piece for a lot of people over the last, what would you say, Nick, maybe the last 5 years? We started to see this trend where guys get paid before they even touch
I mean, yeah, the big
Major
one
League soil?
obviously was still on the Pirates was Paul Skeens getting his big contract before he even threw a pitch, basically.
Yep.
I mean, that's showing
Crazy.
out to be just right.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, it definitely seems to be that trend. I mean, didn't not Roman Anthony, but didn't who's the guy on the Orioles? It's not Carpenter, Holiday. I'm trying.
Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, Jackson Holiday. Didn't
Yeah,
he
Jackson
get a
Holiday
big
got an
contract before
extension.
he even stepped up and had an at bat. So yeah, this has been this is nothing new.
No, it's just I guess Dave is asking if this is the right move for teams to make because look, this is the truest gamble I think for baseball, right? Because now more than ever, these kids feel like they're coming in and they're far more ready than they ever have been because they're playing travel ball. They're doing off-season stuff, right? They've been playing college a lot more often now. A lot of college guys are getting far more drafted than in high school, so now they're getting even more experience. But the question is, are they more prepared, or are we kind of rushing to judgment because of what we're seeing from college into high school into college, and then going into this low-level A-ball, summer league stuff? Are we jumping too far into it, or are we not? Are we maybe needing it more to breathe, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I think it does. It might be a case-by-case basis, considering, Mune Murakami only got like a 2-year pretty reasonable contract for the White Sox.
Right.
I know this might not be the same exact comp, considering Connor Griffin was, highly touted prospect for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
That just might be the case where, an up and coming guy, as soon as you get a big name, all the NIL deal stuff and all that fun jazz can play a part of it and all that. But yeah, no, I don't necessarily think it should be the go-to route. Let's hurry up and pay these guys that haven't really done anything just yet. But you also see the value in locking them down for X amount of years too. So
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing is like I don't want to disregard this. Like kudos to Connor Griffin again, honestly, and anybody who's making their money before they even touch a single moment on the diamond for a major league team. It is understandable though that why these teams would do it. You want to make sure that your organization is secure long term, that you have a future, you're in place, everything is there. I get it. I think we all understand it. I understand it. Nick understands it. We all do. The Murakami thing, I think, might be a little bit different, let's say, because he did play professionally in another country, right? So, but that, even still, I would say, well, wouldn't you want to give him maybe a longer term? Because he is more proven. I mean, maybe not at the major league level, and that's where I understand that, right? You go, so this kid who's 19 years old, 20 years old, playing in America, we've given him the long-term contract, whereas a proven commodity in another country, you only give him the 2-year deal. And I guess that's where I kind of go like, shouldn't it be the other way around? I can understand where it goes like, yeah, you want to give long-term to one and short to the other, but I could easily say, well, Jose Abreu, if I'm not mistaken, got like a 5-year contract with the White Sox.
yeah, he had a big one before he even came up too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like before he even came up, he got the giant contract beforehand to sign with the White Sox, but he was again a proven commodity in Cuba. So I guess you got to, like you said, everybody's different. You have to try and measure out where the line is, who's more ready. Because like you said, Paul Skeens, right from the get-go, we saw in college, looked like a major league arm. From the word go, they wanted to get him in that rotation. I remember Steven Strasburg was another one. From the moment they signed him out of high school and got him under contract when they drafted him number 1 overall, boom, put him in the lineup. Or the rotation, I should say. So.
And I think maybe I might be thinking of a different topic, debate, conversational in general, but it all comes also down to like, these kids are getting drafted, signed at like 14 years old already to begin with. So
Yes.
you see where it's a very early investment no matter what at this point. So getting guys when they're freshmen in high school getting these contracts already. So
Absolutely. Well, and then what? Like I was looking because the way I get is like I'm bored. Let me look at something. I looked at the MLB 2026 international draft, right, or the international pool, I should say. I guess pool draft, however you want to call it. Basically, you find the international guys, you sign them to a contract, right? The current number 1 guy is from Venezuela, a shortstop, Luis Hernandez. Talented kid, by the way. Talented kid. Super, super. he could be an all-star for years to come. $4 million. He's 17. That blows my mind. Like, 17 years old. Now, granted, yes, we've seen a lot of sometimes 17-year-olds make this kind of money, of course. But it's just crazy to me to think, like, you've got guys in high school who are about to get drafted here, like Emerson is the top high school kid, I think, in the country right now, who's going to probably be a top 5 pick in the MLB draft. He will make a lot of money, of course. But will he then get this extension of like $200 million if he, right from the get-go, if he's a top 3 pick? I don't know, right? Meanwhile, you've got Cholowski, who's probably going to be the number 1 pick by the White Sox.
Yes, sir.
He hit back-to-back homers in his last game for UCLA, so kudos to the White Sox for taking probably, I think, could be maybe the next great commodity for that team. And honestly, the kid's got a Polish name, if I'm not mistaken, like fits like a glove for the White Sox. Like, who better? But is he going to make a ton of money right off the bat? Is he going to be ready for the team right when he's drafted? Or is he going to sit in the minor leagues for a couple of years like we saw with Colson Montgomery, with other guys along the way? Or is he going to be a guy that you draft right away and go, put him in the lineup? It's a hard deciding factor, and it's one that they all have to figure out for themselves, because international guys seem like they're far more prepared maybe than the guys that are coming out of high school, than the guys even coming out of college, and yet some would argue that those guys should get the contracts, and yet it's the college guys and the high school guys who, if they just show an inch of that talent that you could use, they get the immediate extension, and you go, but they haven't played a single moment in Major League Baseball. And I get where you're coming from, Dave. That's where we're kind of losing the plot on. So do we not? So is that where we're going now with baseball? That's the difficult task, right? Because it's all projections on, well, he should be an all-star. He should be a 290 hitter. He should be a 30, 40 home run hitter. He should be 100-plus RBIs. He should be a 10, 15, 20-win guy. But it's all projections by analytics and metrics that we've now kind of, I don't want to say sold our soul on, but we're kind of banking on a lot more, rather than the, when I see and I know, I know. And it's hard to say, because A.J. Finch has the ability to go, the computer says this, but my baseball eye and mind say this. Whereas Kevin Cash goes, well, what does the analytics and the computer say? Because that tells me that I don't like Kevin Cash because of that. He always screws the Rays every time, because he goes, well, if you just put in the right amount of numbers, and he doesn't talk like that, but, computer geeks sound like that. Just saying. But, yeah, look, valid question there, Dave, as far as, is it the right move to make? Is it the right way to go for baseball? It's the way that it's trending right now. Do I think it's the right move? Honestly, maybe not, because that's a lot of pressure to put on these kids. And there's a potential for them to either lax off and not work as hard because you've just given them the money. But there's also the incentive then on that money could weigh on their shoulders and go, oh, they're really hoping that I'm going to carry the franchise. This is a lot of pressure. And you're talking about, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and you're saying, hey, we kind of need you to be the franchise. Ugh. It's a lot for a kid to take on. And I say kid knowing that there are adults, but they're not even 21. They can't even go to a bar and get a drink, some of these guys. That's the crazy part.
Like, just inside baseball, I was doing replay one day, and the person I was also doing replay with, he is the replay guy. He does a lot of stuff in Charlotte for the Charlotte Knights. Okay. And it was just kind of like a thing. He was telling me, kind of like I said, just kind of back and forth about all the prospects and all that fun jazz. Right. But he's sitting there, he's like, yeah, when Colson was down here, there was not like a big hefty rule, but it was mentioned like, hey, do not ever say like number 1 prospect in front of him. Don't put that. If you like bump into him and say anything to him, don't mention that, because he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to have to be reminded of it. Right. So there are people in that case. There are people in that realm where like, yeah, exactly that. Like, they don't like to be constantly reminded about. Yeah, hey man, we're putting this all on you. Yeah. Go make it work. They don't like that. No. Yeah. It's
what's the line? I can't remember. The line from Lord of the Rings, one of my favorites. You carry the fate of us all, little one. Not that Colson Montgomery's a little one, but like it's the thing of like the pressure's on you to deliver for this. Like you've got to put the ring in Mordor. Come on, we need a championship. You're the future. Like that's. I feel like a lot of that is being put on these young guys, whereas Murakami, I feel like can shoulder more of that because he's more experienced. Because he can look at Ohtani, right? Ohtani comes in at 23 years old, and you go, can he be the franchise for the Angels? Can he be the franchise when he signs this big deal for the Dodgers?
And now he's the face of the league.
Yeah, now he's the face of the league. Clear the face of baseball over the world, arguably. And yeah, he can shoulder that experience because look at him. He's doing great. He's got to make $1 billion by the time he's not even 40. It's crazy. Insane. Why couldn't I have been a tall guy who can just hit a ball? Like a little bit better than popping it up or smacking some kid in the face with it, unfortunately.
I do always say that to my family and my parents. I'm like, yeah, the only sport I do regret not continuing playing is definitely baseball.
Oh yeah. I listen, I wish I would have been able to. Unfortunately, it's one of those moments where you're like, hey, we're at pitching practice, and then you go, uh-oh, something happened. Not that I'm saying I would have been great. I would have liked to try to been the Mariano Rivera for big boys, a.k.a. the next Bobby Jenks. Rest in peace. All right. Thank you so much, Dave, for the question. We appreciate it. Now, let's get into this last one because draft day is going to be upon us in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Our guy, Mike, not our guy, Mike, a different Mike, asked us, because I always do this, he always says, is there any draft day trades? The movie Draft Day, there's always, Draft Day has that crazy trade that happened and then another crazy trade that happens. He's asking, is there any crazy trades that I see happening in the first round? Because I always come up with some that I try to predict for every year for the draft. I did this last year, I did it the year before, so on and so forth since we done the show. I've got a few trades that I think could happen. I actually do think these could happen. In no way are they in shape or form by realty. It's just these are the ones I think could happen. So, yeah, I have some trades that I think could happen that actually could be beneficial, at least for us, because this could be a very boring draft. So this would make it very interesting. So,
no, what are you talking about? Just one quarterback in the first round? That's not boring. Oh, that's not. It's
not even a fun quarterback. He's so milquetoast. Yeah. He is so bland. Like, he's not even oatmeal. Oatmeal's more fun than bran.
Yeah, that's got more spice in it.
Yeah. At least you can put some powdered sugar in it or some brown sugar and be like, it's at least something. Some raisins will help at least, if anything.
Mendoza looks like a churro would be too spicy for him.
And he's Cuban.
Yeah. Poor guy.
God. You know what? If I could interview him, that's one question I would love to ask him. What's your spice level? How hot can you go with your salsa? Love to ask him that. All right, let's look at these trades really quick I got. So these are draft day trades that I think could potentially happen. So the first one I've got is Las Vegas. The Raiders trade the number 1 pick. So I've got the Raiders trading the number 1 overall pick, the 117th overall pick in the 4th round, and the 208th pick in the 6th round of this year's draft to the Miami Dolphins, with the Dolphins then sending both of their first rounders this year, the 11th and the 30th pick. I have them sending 2 of their 4 third rounders that I forgot they had, the 75th pick and the 90th pick, a 2027 second round pick and a 2028 second round pick, which I think could be the 2027 first round pick, but I think the Dolphins could give them 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds, and the Raiders will say, yeah, that's enough, and here's some complimentary picks so you don't feel like you lost everything. So it's a lot to move, but I think the Dolphins want to keep 2027 for a reason that I gave on Blow the Whistle. So if you didn't hear that then, I'll give it to you now. Well, not now, but here soon. So for the Raiders, obviously you get a haul, right? You get your future, something similar to what the Bears got when they traded the number 1 pick to the Panthers, right? They got a future that they've now built off of that gives them the ultimate opportunity to go in for the next 5-6 years potentially and have that kind of playoff contention, flexibility within the cap to be able to say we have the opportunity to now just dominate our division if we want to and compete with the like of the Packers who might be on the out end and all that. This gives the Raiders the chance to say, Chiefs might be on the downside. Denver's on the upside. Chargers are kind of trending up, but they're kind of like middle road. So now we have a chance in the next 3 to 4 years to maybe say, we can fight. We draft right, we can fight. And if you listen, I like Fernando Mendoza. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be a great quarterback. This gives you the opportunity to say at 11, hey, here's Mekhi Lemon, or here's Jordan Tyson, a wide receiver, or here's the top tackle, maybe Spencer Fano, to fill your offensive line. Or, hey, here's Mansour Delane or Jamad McCoy, a corner, to fix your defense. And at the 30th pick, you take the opposite end. Maybe you get Denzel Boston, Chris Brazel II, who I think is the next Cortland Sutton, maybe the next Brandon Marshall. Here's Caleb Lomu. Here's Max Ianachor, a tackle that can solve your offensive line issue and help secure Ashton Genty as a better runner. Like, the world is your oyster then for the next 3 years, potentially, with these draft picks. For the Dolphins, Eric John Sullivan's a smart GM. I don't think he actually does make this trade. This is a very far and left field trade, let's say that right now. Because you did sign Malik Willis, but what is Malik Willis but really just Matt Flynn in a different era? Honestly, a couple of nice games and he looked okay, and now you give him a lot of money. But that contract is the equivalent of Justin Fields signing with the Jets. This is your franchise quarterback. This is a guy you can get behind. He's a Miami native. He's a Cuban American, for God's sakes. Let's get behind that. Let's market that. Let's get this thing going. He's a solid pre-snap read quarterback with a good arm, good footwork, smart kid. He stays out of trouble. Again, he's milk toast. So, you know, unless he's got that weird side on the back side of himself in the closet that we don't know about, maybe he does, I don't know. But he's a very good Christian boy in Miami. He's not going to get into trouble, at least that we know of. And if you keep that 27 first-round pick, Nick, you said that you don't think that team is going to win more than 3 games, correct?
Nope, don't believe so.
Even if they got Fernando Mendoza, where would you see them project at?
If you get Mendoza, I'll say 4 to 5.
Okay. So we're saying maybe they have still a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to say then let's take that 2027 pick and let's say they had like the 7th pick. They then take that 2028 first round pick and move up to, let's say, the top 3. Who's there at that top 3 pick, you would say, that's the number 1 wide receiver in college football, who's a Miami native at The Ohio State that would pair perfectly with Fernando Mendoza? I think it would be Jeremiah Smith, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
I'm just saying.
You were getting to this on Blow the Whistle, and me and Double D were liking where your head was at.
I like that is the way I would. Now again, this trade may cost you that pick, which great for the Raiders. Then you get a top quarterback and a top wide receiver, vice versa. However you want to see it, like great. But if you're Miami, withhold that 2027 because you get to pair a great pre-snap read quarterback with maybe the next generational talent at wide receiver to come into the NFL, both Miami natives. What a market strategy. What an opportunity to bring Miami Dolphins back with Devin Akane in the backfield. Who's not buying into that the Dolphins can maybe compete, if anything, with the Bills to be second in the division? Maybe compete with the Patriots at some point in time down the future. I don't know if Hafley's that coach. He feels like Joe Philbin, but you never know. But I think this trade is very far out in left field. Let's be very honest. Eric John Sullivan's smart. You keep those draft picks. You build your future. But I just feel like that's a move that can move you up leaps and bounds on both ends, right? But it's a gamble, it's a risk that I don't know if both teams are going to be willing to take. That's the other problem. They're both so dysfunctional, I don't know if they'll see the benefit in either one of those moves being made.
It would just be very interesting to see them tear it down all so drastically right away, getting rid of Tyreek Hill, Chubb, trading away Jalen Waddle, and then for it to be that quick of a turnaround to go from 0 to hero and not even a full season after.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's outside of what Miami their blueprints and whatnot, but it would be very interesting to see if that does happen in any sort of way.
I only put it out there because of all the teams that would make this kind of move. The Browns don't feel like they're going to be willing to move off a quarterback. They've got too many holes they have to fill. The Dolphins do too, which is where Eric John Sullivan probably is not going to make that move because he's smart. He's a smart GM. I'll give him his credit from Green Bay. He's a smart guy. But they feel like the one team that would be willing to make that move because the Jets are going to do that. The Jets are going to say, we'll take him or don't. We're going to be at 2. We'll take him if you don't take him. But for the Raiders, this sets them up for the future. For the Dolphins, it gives you a franchise quarterback and potentially sets up your future looking bright in a division that might be starting to wane down. If Nick's right, and this is the last we see of the Patriots in the Super Bowl, perhaps this is Miami's chance to start sliding in and say, we can sneak one by them. Never know. Never know.
In the Drake May era.
In the Drake May era, correct.
Yeah. I don't think he's coming. He's not coming back to the Super Bowl.
I kind of don't disagree with that, honestly. The next one I've got, more practical. This is the one I actually think could happen of all of them. It is the Saints flipping with the Jets. So the Saints would be giving up their first-round pick, the 8th overall pick, and the 132nd pick in the 4th round they have, which is one of their 4ths. And they would be giving it to the Jets, and the Jets would be giving up the 2026 first-round pick, 16. They would give up their second-round pick at number 44 they have from Dallas and their 2027 second-round pick next year. So that sounds like a lot for the 8th overall pick, I know. It might not even cost that much, honestly. This is just what I'm projecting right now for what the Saints would want because it gives the Saints, again, a future to build off of with Shuck. It gives them a chance, I think, to build out their defense and have more options defensively where they don't need a wide receiver technically at 8. And the Jets can get Mekhi Lemon at 8 because at this point, the Dolphins aren't trading with the Raiders for Fernando Mendoza. They probably keep the 11th pick. They probably take Mekhi Lemon if he's there at 11. The Jets seem to covet Mekhi Lemon to some degree. They could take him at 16, but he's not there at 16. He's probably gone by then. So now you get your wide receiver a little bit higher. That can be your cornerstone with Garrett Wilson, with Breece Hall on the offensive side. You've got Arvell Reese or David Bailey at 2 to be your guy on defense. Now you've got your pieces there at high draft picks. You still keep your first-rounders for next year with the Colts. So you still have 2 first-round picks next year. As for New Orleans, you can build this team out now through defense and offense. You've got an extra second-round pick in this year's draft. And at 16, I think they take Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson, who I know a lot of people say they hope the Bears can get him at 25. I don't think he's going to be there. I think he's going to be gone by then. He's a top 10, top 5 pick that I think is going to be dropping in the draft because, 1, Clemson didn't do well and he didn't do very well last year. And 2, a lot of these guys are offensive-minded right now as far as commodities. It's a safe kind of trade for both sides, I think, primarily. But the Saints need a lot, and they need more of a future. The Jets have a lot of draft capital they can give up, move up in the draft, get a 1A, 1B at wide receiver for Geno Smith this year, and then next year when they probably finish, with like 4 or 5 wins again, probably with a top 5 pick, you get a quarterback. And you get another piece to add to your offense or your defense, right? Through your 2 first-round picks again that you have next year. Feels like a solid move to me. I don't know about Nick. What do you think about it?
Seems like, at least for both of those teams, kind of I don't want to say what you do about nothing, but that move doesn't really put you in either one of those teams into contention right away.
No, but it's building, I think, for something towards the future for them.
Yeah, I feel as though, again, depending on if that were to play out, I feel like it could be a benefit for both. It could be like you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
It could also be looked at as like the rest of the league kind of watching these two teams that are like just laughing at like the 2 kids in the playground. They're like, oh man, this one's picking his nose and this one's playing with his like the sand and the dirt. He's eating it.
Oh, they're playing with each other.
Yeah, they're hanging out. That's cool. That's nice.
Or what your favorite ever? A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be something else. It could even be a boat.
Yeah.
It's not, I know, the sexy move, But it's just that I think the Jets, because they seem to like Mekhi Lemon a lot, and he's moving up a lot in the draft right now, they could be looking at it saying, well, we can jump the Dolphins, and the Saints may not want to take him because they don't necessarily need him. They could want him, but they don't necessarily need him. So we could make that move. We could swap with him. Or here's another one that I've heard too. Overall reset 2, Sonny Styles at 8. Pair the linebackers up with each other again from Ohio State and build out that defense after you've been gutted with C.J. Mosley retiring and leaving and Quinnell Williams leaving your team as well to go to free agency. Fills 2 slots that I think you could really use at that point in time. Just saying. Just saying. Because I think the Chiefs may take Sonny Styles at 9 if he's there. If he's there. This move that I have, though, I talked with some people about. It got some people charged because they said, no way would Minnesota do this. I think this might be very viable. It is the Titans flipping the number 4 pick to Minnesota because Minnesota wants to move up to number 4 to take Jeremiah Love. So the Titans would move the 4th overall pick, and I said the 144th overall pick in the 5th round, to Minnesota for the 18th pick, one of their 3rd round picks, which was number 97, I have, their 1st round pick next year, and then wide receiver Jordan Addison.
That's interesting that you throw him in there. Is that just sweeten the deal, or?
I think so, because 2027 and 18 feels like a lot, right? With a 3rd round pick this year. Of course, that feels like a lot. Feels like enough. But I think if you're the Titans, why not give a little bit of that draft day energy and be like, we want Jordan Addison just because we feel like it? And technically, they do need a number 1 wide receiver. And Jordan Addison feels like a guy who could be on the cusp of maybe being that number 1. And the Vikings have the problem of saying, we have to figure out if we're going to pay him. We also have the issue of he's been a bit of a problem for us in the offseason. This is our chance to move off of him, let him be the Tennessee Titans problem. And then, yeah, you're giving up a lot, but you're getting back a running back that, if Darrisaw's back, solves an issue that you have, because when has Kyler Murray been at his best? When has J.J. McCarthy been at their best? When their run game has been their most proficient. Be it Michigan or with the Arizona Cardinals, the run game has been the solution to their offense every time. I think you go get Jeremiah Love. Yes, you're banking on a Adrian Peterson, Saquon Barkley type of emergence. But if you think he's that commodity and you look at that Vikings team and you go, they have a few things they could fix. You keep that 2nd round pick. You can get your safety there. Your corners, your edge rushers, your linebackers are all still there as of right now. That offensive line is top 10 when it's been healthy, and they still have Justin Jefferson, and you can go get a wide receiver later in the draft.
That's fair. I mean, Jordan Addison on an expiring contract, he would easily become Titans' number 1 everything.
By leaps and bounds.
Like, he might even be QB number 2 on there somehow. They're lacking a lot there.
Might be the starting running back.
Yeah, honestly. And that's where you would flip to Minnesota and be like, okay, that also makes sense considering what you're relying on Aaron Jones for
Old
another
and
year.
aging out.
Yeah, I don't.
Anthony Mason's not a starter.
No.
You need that guy in the backfield if you want to get back in contention. If you're telling me this team was a playoff team not too long ago with Sam Darnold, and you want to take the pressure off of J.J. McCarthy, there's your pressure reliever.
I mean, yeah, if you want to make the Kyler Murray signing make sense, if you want to make a happy Justin Jefferson, I guess that could also help there too. I don't hate this. I kind of do as a Bears fan, but I don't hate this.
It's one of the, and again, I have in my mock draft, I will say this right off the bat, I have Jeremiah Love going to the Vikings at 18. Now, I'm cynical. I don't like running backs going top 10. I don't think anybody needs to take him in the top 10. But if you're a team that's saying we want to take him in the top 5, top 10, because he's arguably the number 2 player in this draft class, just because there's a lack of star players to this thing, let somebody make the mistake then of trading up all those picks like Minnesota will to go get him. I think he could be there at 18, but he probably won't. So let Minnesota go up to 4. Trade or make the offer to Minnesota and say, hey, you want 4? What do you want for him? We want Jordan Addison. Do you want Jordan Addison? Because he's been a problem for you in the offseason. Do you want to pay him? We're willing to pay him. We'll give him the money. But you need to sweeten the deal. Give us 18. Give us your first rounder. Give us Jordan Addison. Don't even worry about the 3rd round pick. I just threw that in there for nuts and giggles. Give us the 2 first. Give us Jordan Addison. We'll give you the 4th. We'll throw in a 5th, and let's say we'll throw in a 3rd next year to sweeten the deal even. Minnesota doesn't do that. You get a primetime number 1 running back behind Kyler Murray, who's an experienced guy who works best when the run's there. It gives J.J. McCarthy relief, who's been best when the run's there in Michigan. Again, it's college, but still. Pressure off of them. Pressure off of Justin Jefferson to deliver. And it's pressure off the defense to constantly be at their staked best when they can now kind of get a little bit of a reset and rebuild going to fill in those defensive backs that they desperately need to shut down Roma Dunze and Luther Burden and the rest of the league that's now coming up with Colson Loveland. I'm just naming the Bears because right now they may have the best receiving core in the NFC North. And I don't think that's out of the question, honestly. So I understand where people will be cynical of these moves. They'll say, make it make sense. I'm not exactly saying these all perfectly make sense. I didn't go through a list and say, well, this commutes. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just said, I think this makes sense. Debate about it. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where it doesn't make sense. I could see where the Titans stay at 4 and take Jeremiah Love. I can see where the Saints stay at 8 and take Mekhi Lemon. I can see where the Raiders stay at 1 and take Fernando Mendoza. I understand all that. But why not explore the possibility of getting a bunch of draft picks that could set you up for the long haul? Because it's not about just the now. It's about next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. That's what winning franchises do. It's not about just this year. It's about 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now. That's how you build dynasties. Correct, Nick?
Correct, Andrew.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. We are smart individuals that I think understand that what the Bears have done thus far in trading that number 1 pick that everybody was complaining about was the move that has now set them up potentially for the next 5 to 7 years of dominance in the NFC North and maybe put them on the path of being back in the Super Bowl. Don't attack me if that doesn't happen because I just said that. Okay. Nick, you can because, we're like that.
Oh, yeah.
1 slap across the face, though. 1.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Not from you, Scotty, because you weren't here for it. But I'm just suggesting trades, and also, too, because, again, this draft may move like molasses. So I'm really hoping some trades happen just so we're not sitting here going, cool, and we see, an offensive lineman go. Great. What? Oh, we're 4.5 hours into this draft? Okay, here we go. We're at pick 18. Oh, man, come on. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm just saying. I would really like to see some spark moves make. Nick,
the star power is lacking.
Yes.
Of course, it's going to sound a little ignorant, of course, and most likely will eat my words. And 3 or 4 years when half these guys are breaking records or something like that, or,
or out of the league, maybe. For all we know.
More than likely, yes. Statistically, yes. Half these guys will probably have a 2 to 3 year career, but that's just the NFL. That's the monster that it is.
It's a 50-50 shot.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to ask me?
No, I was just going to say, is there any trades that you had in mind? I know we're still out from the draft. We'll probably discuss more on Blow the Whistle and on this show later on. But is there any that you have right off the bat that you could see happening, or any teams that you could see maybe making some moves potentially to move up or even down?
Yeah, I think the popular one, and I'm gonna kind of find myself agreeing with it, is that the late round trade that the Cardinals could make to, they'll have their early first round pick but others are making the assumption that they'll jump back towards the later end of the first round and try and snag Ty Simpson. That most likely for me would be the only reason that 2 quarterbacks go in the first round. Otherwise, I think only Fernando Mendoza is going to do so. I'm trying to find my sports book that has that available for like only 1 quarterback. Over under. They always do that by position, like over under running backs to go in the first round. Over under X amount of wide receivers. They even go as far as like over under SEC players going in the first round. And second. I always enjoy those props like that, but I haven't really seen that have knocked my socks off. Yeah, as a Bears fan, you can, if there's really one person that you feel as though, like you were mentioning, that like, hey, we can maybe get him at 25, but he might also be snagged at 15.
Yeah, I
wouldn't say, let's trade the entire, like, let's trade all our draft capital just for this one pick. But I would like for the Bears to maybe move up if they had to, if they have a guy that's like, okay, this is the guy, this is our only guy that we want and can get. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't have one on the top of the dome that would make sense.
That's the only thing is like Peter Woods would maybe be that one guy that I would, because otherwise I think at 25, his teammate TJ Parker from Clemson is going to be right there. And I think he would be a great compliment to Montez Sweat for the Bears' sake. That's why I have them taking in my mock draft, is TJ Parker, because he fits the 4-3 defense perfectly. He's a great edge rusher, good bend, strong guy. Just didn't make a lot of plays because Clemson wasn't that good.
I feel like just for GMs in general across the board this year, it's going to be a very low-risk draft in terms of, like, you're not going to get, thrown through the weeds for drafting this person, because no one really has, other than Fernando Mendoza and maybe Reeves going second overall. No one's like, okay, that's the guy. Like, this is the, I know, even like 2 or 3 years ago, we were like, okay, we now know for sure what the first like 10 to 15 picks are going to be.
Right.
This one, we're like, okay, some of us are still not even sold that Fernando Mendoza is going to go 1 overall.
Yeah.
It probably more than likely is.
Oh,
Will he be the number 1 talent? Probably not. It might, in my mind, it might be some defensive guy later on down the line. But
I think so.
Hey, this is going to be a very low risk draft. I don't think anyone's going to lose their job due to making this pick in the 2026 draft this year.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Arvell Reese, Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs. I think there's a litany of guys that have proven themselves to be maybe those next guys up in the next 5 years or so. But like you said, it's low risk. They still have to prove themselves because they're all rookies. Obviously, they haven't taken a snap in the NFL, but they all look like those could be like those next stars. But it's all it's all projections, it's all numbers that we're just kind of going, oh, well, maybe they can, maybe they can't, who knows? We're all looking at their college numbers and saying, but what can they do in the NFL and who do they go to, right? Who drafts them is important. So
low risk if they don't trade the house for X amount of picks.
Exactly.
I'll preface it by saying that.
As long as you're not trading all the way up to go say, we'll take a tackle like Spencer Fano, I don't think you're not going to worry the world anyway. So it'll be interesting. Draft is in 2 weeks. We'll be talking more on it for Blow the Whistle. We'll talk more on it here on X-Bomb Sports. But that's going to do it for the questions, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Send us your questions. Sorry, I'm getting all choked up because we're ending the show. Send us your thoughts, mostly because I'm running out of air and voice. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. Please keep sending them. Please keep talking to us, guys. We appreciate it. We love it. Thank you guys for sending all that stuff. And yes, for those of you that also sent some stuff for the Bad Karma Boys, I will make sure to get that on the list and send it to those boys as well so you guys can ask those questions. Or better yet, I'll give it to Scotty because he'll do it for Scotty's World more than likely too. So I'll make sure that stuff gets out there as well, as gentlemen. Yes, Bad Karma Wrestling. Nick just did an amazing show. I was chiming in from the back. Very high on AEW for what they're providing for this week's pay-per-view. Very, sorry, WWE fans, very critical of what WrestleMania will be bringing you for Vegas.
By the way,
rightfully so.
Something that I was not certain on or was making a joke of earlier, Jelly Roll officially will be in Cody Rhodes' corner.
Oh, God.
So it will be Cody and Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
Well, Cody managed by Jelly Roll versus Randy Orton managed by Pat McAfee.
Yeah, to alternate one of his big hits. This is not okay. WWE is not okay. It's looking really bad. Thank God for AEW. Honestly, Dave Meltzer is right. The line is getting very blurred on that comparison for AEW and WWE. But yeah, guys, if you want to check us out anymore, YouTube, Twitch, we're going live every Friday. For the most part, we will keep you guys informed when we do not go or when we do go. I will be better with that, I promise you. So be able to check that out every Friday, 1 o'clock p.m. Central Time. If you guys want to check out any more of our stuff as well, too, at XBomb Sports on all the social media stuff, we're going to try and keep up more with that. So be on the lookout for that, too. I'm the Foofy Guru on Twitter. I'm at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram, too. Comments and questions, you guys know where to go. xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. Bad Karma every Friday as well, 11 o'clock p.m. a.m. Central Time, No Gimmicks Nick Johnson, David Double D Dykstra with Scotty Scotty Kiefer. I can't talk anymore.
Scotty and his keeper, yes.
Scotty and his keepers on Bad Karma's YouTube page. That's, again, every Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Check it out on the YouTube page. And, of course, too, Blow the Whistle. Jeez, God, we got to get out of here. Blow the Whistle. Going to be on Fridays as well, too. But check us out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 2 p.m. Central Time on the Sports Channel Chicago YouTube page, which might be making a shift. We will keep you guys up to date on that. We just need to have a conversation, and we'll let you guys know on that update as soon as we possibly can. But thank you guys all so much for listening and watching, as always. We love you. We appreciate you. You're the greatest fans in the world. We will see you guys hopefully next week for another fantastic show. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.